Yo, what's good, Laker Nation? Stop everything. I mean it. Put your phone down if you're scrolling, pause whatever show you're watching, turn off whatever game you got on in the background. Because what I'm about to tell you just happened on live television, and it has completely shattered the entire NBA landscape. If you thought LeBron's interview was the craziest thing you'd see this week, you were wrong, because Luka Dončić just went on ESPN and did something that nobody saw coming. Not the media, not the fans, not the Lakers front office, nobody. I am still trying to process what I just watched. My jaw's on the floor. Let's get into this right now. So before I break down what happened, let me set the stage for you. It's the middle of May 2026. The Lakers have just been swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference semifinals. 4 games, no chance. The Thunder won all 8 matchups against the Lakers this year, regular season and playoffs combined. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was absolutely dominant with 35 points in Game 4. Chet Holmgren hit that devastating dunk with 32.8 seconds left, and the defending champs moved on without breaking a sweat. Hey, what's up everyone? Real quick before we get into everything, that like button is literally what determines if this reaches hundreds or thousands of fans. Takes 1 second, but makes a huge impact on the channel's growth. Just smash that like button right now. It's the easiest thing you can do, but honestly, the biggest way to support this content. Every single like pushes this further, so hit it now. Meanwhile, Luka Dončić, the best player on the Lakers and the NBA's leading scorer this season at 33.5 points per game, watched every single playoff game from the bench in street clothes. He suffered a grade 2 hamstring strain on April 2nd in Oklahoma City. The initial MRI in Dallas showed a standard strain, but when Luka flew to Spain for specialized platelet-rich plasma and stem cell treatment, the doctors there discovered the injury was deeper and more severe than originally believed. The real recovery timeline was 8 weeks, not the 4 to 6 that was initially reported. That 8-week window would have landed right around the NBA Finals. The Lakers would have needed to come back from being swept and win an entire conference finals series just to see Luka suit up. It was never realistic. Luka confirmed it himself when he spoke to reporters and said the doctors told him 8 weeks from day 1. Now here's what makes this even more complicated. While Luka was sitting on the bench unable to help his team, the entire media machine was using his name as a weapon. They were pitting him against LeBron. They were saying the Lakers' future belongs to Luka and that the era of LeBron needs to end for the franchise to truly move forward. Stephen A. Smith went on First Take on May 14th and said the Lakers don't particularly like LeBron James, that there's been years of tension between the front office and Clutch Sports, and that the real focus now should be building exclusively around Doncic. Yahoo Sports reporter Michael Duarte compared the LeBron-Lakers relationship to a fading marriage and said the franchise's future clearly belongs to Luka, and Luka had to sit there and listen to all of this while recovering from an injury that was worse than anyone knew. Rob Pelinka held his end-of-season press conference on May 12th alongside JJ Redick. They talked about Luka being the top priority. They talked about adding depth, about hiring 2 new assistant GMs, about building biomechanics labs and recovery labs at the practice facility. They talked about having the 25th pick in the draft. They talked about optionality in free agency and trades. But the underlying message was clear. The Lakers are building around Luka Dončić. Everything else, including LeBron's future, is secondary. Pelinka said they want to honor LeBron's process and give him time to decide, but the tone felt different from how they talk about Luka. With LeBron, it was about respect and patience. With Luka, it was about building a championship foundation. The distinction was not subtle, so with all of that swirling around, Luka shows up for an interview on NBA Today. Malika Andrews is hosting, Chini Ogwumike and Bobby Marks are on the panel, and the expectation was simple. Luka talks about his recovery, his plans for the offseason, how he's feeling physically, and his goals for next season. Standard end-of-season stuff. He already told reporters he's pain-free in the hamstring and has started the same strict off-season diet that transformed his body last summer. He said he won't be playing for Slovenia in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, so he can spend time with his daughters and focus on getting his body right. He said the expectation is that he won't be limited in any way for off-season preparation. All positive signs. Malika started with the injury. She asked how frustrating it was to watch the playoffs from the bench. Luka gave a measured answer at first. He talked about how difficult it was, how he tried everything to come back, how the Spain treatment helped him understand the true severity of the injury. He said the hardest part was watching his teammates fight without him, especially LeBron and Rui Hachimura in that Game 4 closeout. He praised Marcus Smart for that clutch and one layup that gave the Lakers the lead in the final minute. He said he felt helpless sitting there knowing he could have made a difference. But then Malika asked about the media narratives. She asked Luka specifically about the idea that the Lakers need to choose between him and LeBron, that the era of LeBron needs to end for the Luka era to begin, and that's when everything shifted. Luka's expression changed completely. That famous half smile, the one that makes defenders nervous, disappeared instantly. His arms, which had been relaxed, crossed tight against his chest. He leaned back in his chair and looked directly at Malika with an intensity I have never seen from this man off the court. "I've been sitting at home for 6 weeks watching television," Luka said. 6 weeks of listening to analysts and commentators and reporters talk about my name like I'm a chess piece. Like I'm some kind of tool they can use to push LeBron James out the door. Let me make something very clear right now. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets to use my name to disrespect a legend. LeBron James carried this team to 53 wins. He carried this team past Houston without me. At 41 years old, in his 23rd season, averaging over 23 points a game in the playoffs, and the media's response was to go on television and say the Lakers don't like him. That his era needs to end? That is disgusting. Bro, I literally had to pause my TV. My remote almost slipped out of my hand. Luka Dončić, the guy who was supposed to be the future of the Lakers, was defending LeBron James against the very narrative that was designed to elevate him. This was not what anyone expected. Chini Ogwumike's eyebrows shot up so high they almost left her face. Bobby Marks started furiously scribbling notes. The entire energy of the broadcast shifted in an instant. "I came to the Lakers last summer because of what this franchise represents," Luka continued. "Championships, legacy, greatness. And a huge part of that decision was knowing that I would get to play alongside LeBron James. Do you understand what that means to someone who grew up watching him? I was 9 years old when LeBron won his first championship with the Heat. I was a teenager in Slovenia watching highlights of this man and dreaming about being on the same court. And when I got traded here from Dallas, the first person who called me was LeBron. Not Rob Pelinka, not Jeannie Buss. LeBron. He called me and said, 'We're going to do something special together,' and I believed him. You want to know what happened this season?" Luka said, and his voice started getting louder. "I averaged 33.5 points per game. I led the entire NBA in scoring. I averaged 7.7 rebounds and 8.3 assists. We had the best record this franchise has seen in 15 years. And we were playing our best basketball when I went down on April 2nd. We were rolling. The chemistry between me, LeBron, and Austin Reeves was finally clicking. JJ Redick had figured out how to use all three of us together, and then my hamstring gave out in Oklahoma City and everything fell apart. But that's not LeBron's fault. That's not the front office's fault. That's my body failing at the worst possible time. And instead of the media focusing on what we accomplished, instead of giving credit to a team that won 53 games and beat the Rockets without their best player, they turned the story into a soap opera," Luka said. Stephen A. Smith goes on TV and talks about how the Lakers don't like LeBron. Jeannie Buss laughs when someone asks about a statue. Rob Pelinka gives a game ball to JJ Redick instead of recognizing LeBron for breaking the record for most combined wins in NBA history. And then the whole media machine starts pushing this narrative that it's LeBron's time to go and Luka's time to take over, as if I asked for that, as if I want to build my career on top of pushing out the greatest player of all time. The interview went to commercial break, and I swear I could feel the tension through my television screen. I thought maybe Luka would cool down during the break, maybe his agent called, maybe someone from the Lakers PR team texted him. Maybe Bobby Marks said something during the commercial about keeping it professional. But when they came back, Luka was even more dialed in. He hadn't cooled down at all. If anything, the break had given him time to think about exactly what he wanted to say next. "Let me talk about the roster," Luka said, "because everybody's talking about building around me, so let's have that conversation. I'm looking at this team and I see pieces, some good, some that need improvement." Marcus Smart brings defensive intensity and leadership. He averaged 1.4 steals per game, and he played 28.5 minutes a night. He had that 7-steal game against Charlotte in November. In the clutch, he delivered. That and one in Game 4 that gave us the lead. That's championship DNA. You can build around that kind of toughness. But then I look at DeAndre Ayton, Luka continued, and I see a player with enormous physical gifts who hasn't figured out how to be consistently dominant. He started 72 games. He averaged 12.5 points and 8 rebounds and led the team with a block per game. He had an 18 rebound game against Atlanta in January, so you know the talent is there. But there were too many games where he was invisible, too many possessions where he wasn't demanding the ball, too many defensive rotations where he was a step slow. When you're going up against Chet Holmgren, who dunked on us to seal the series, you need your center to match that energy every single night. And Ayton didn't do that consistently enough. Rui Hachimura, on the other hand, showed up when it mattered most, Luka said. JJ Redick was right when he said at the press conference that Rui's shooting elevates everyone around him. 25 points in Game 4, that 4-point play in the fourth quarter that almost changed the entire series. 9 of his 25 in the final period. That's a player who rises to the moment. You want to build around me? Keep Rui, he understands what it takes. But here's what frustrates me, Luka said, and now his voice dropped lower, more serious. I'm hearing about 2 new assistant GMs. I'm hearing about biomechanics labs and recovery labs and construction at the practice facility. I'm hearing about the 25th pick in the draft, and all of that is fine. All of that sounds progressive and forward thinking, but none of that wins you a championship next year. None of that closes the gap with Oklahoma City, who just went 8-0 against us, and has Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, AJ Mitchell, who went off for 28 points in Game 4, and Alex Caruso, who used to be a Laker and hit us with those back-to-back threes. The Thunder are the defending champions, and they're getting better. They have depth that we can only dream about. Mark Daigneault said after the sweep that his team had to earn that win, that we didn't give them anything easy. And he's right, but earning close wins against an undermanned team is not the same as beating a complete roster. So when Rob Pelinka says he has optionality, Luka said, I need to see that optionality turn into action, real moves, not just press conferences and plans and timelines. Austin Reeves needs to be re-signed. Pelinka said Austin wants to continue his journey here, and they feel the same way. Good. Lock that up immediately. Austin averaged 23.3 points and 5.5 assists this season. He's our second best player when I'm healthy. Don't let him walk over money. Don't make the same mistakes this franchise has made in the past. And as for LeBron, Luka said, and here's where it got deeply personal. I am going to say this publicly because I think it needs to be said. LeBron James, if you're watching this, I want you to know that I don't want to play for the Lakers without you. Not yet. Maybe one day when you decide on your own terms that it's time, I'll carry this franchise forward. But right now, at this moment, we have unfinished business. We never got to play a full playoff run together. We never got to show the world what this team looks like at full strength. You, me, and Austin running the floor together with JJ drawing up the plays. That's a championship level trio. And for the media or the front office or anyone else to try to separate us before we've even had a chance to prove what we can be, that's not just disrespectful to LeBron, that's disrespectful to me. That's telling me they don't believe we can win together, and I refuse to accept that. At this point, Malika Andrews was visibly emotional. I don't think she expected this level of vulnerability from Luka. Nobody did. This is a player who spent his career being the confident, swaggering superstar. The guy who hits step-back threes with a smirk. The guy who talks trash to opponents during the game. But in this moment, he was showing something different. He was showing that behind the confidence and the bravado, there's a player who genuinely cares about the people he plays with. I want to send a message to the media, Luka said, sitting up straighter now. Stop using my name to push your agendas. Stop pitting me against LeBron for content and clicks and television ratings. Stop pretending you know what's happening inside our locker room when you haven't been in it. This team went through something difficult this season. We lost our best scorer for the entire playoffs. We fought anyway. We beat Houston. We took OKC to the wire in Game 4. That's not a failure. That's a team that has a future. But you won't see that future if you keep trying to tear us apart before we've even had a chance to build it. And for the fans, Luka said, and here's where the emotion really came through. You showed up all year, 53 wins, the best record in 15 years. You packed Crypto.com Arena every single night. Even in Game 4, down 0-3, knowing the season was probably over, the arena was full. DiCaprio was there, Sean Penn was there, Eddie Murphy was there, the fans were there, and I was sitting on the bench in a sweatsuit unable to help, and I felt your energy. I heard you screaming when Marcus hit that and one. I felt the building shake when Rui completed that 4-point play, and I made a promise to myself sitting there. Next season, I will be on that court, I will be healthy, and we will give you something worth screaming about.